Hey, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be going into the Hindsnake cult attempting to take down the Empire. So let's jump straight into it. So Vader found himself under the vengeful watch of a wealthy industrialist due to killing the industrialist's son when the latter tried to disrupt an Empire enforced business deal. As such, he killed 8 assassins that were hired by the industrialist to kill him, and eventually was tailed by a 9th. Vader was eventually summoned by the Emperor himself. However, shortly after arriving, he then unexpectedly force-pushed the Emperor away and hurled the throne out of the window. Vader's reason soon became clear when the throne exploded due to a bomb being placed underneath. Vader then executed 2 of the royal guards by hurling them out the window, citing lack of time as his reason, but they normally would be punished by a slow and painful death for a failure to protect the Emperor. He then berated the remaining 5 royal guards for being incompetent or otherwise conspiring against the Emperor and the Empire. He then executed the 2 guards who failed to kneel in guilt, and spared the remaining 5 when they accepted responsibility for the failure, and assigned 2 of them to protect the Emperor, 2 of them to accompany Vader, and the remaining 1 to cover up the attempted assassination. He then went to his master's side. He eventually learned that the Hindsnake cult was responsible after an encounter with a cultist who blew himself up during their investigation. Upon learning from his master the history of the Hindsnake cult, he was then dispatched to wipe out the cult of dark-side sorcerers, all while the 9th assassin stalked him. While investigating the location of the cult, he eventually found a derelict Venator-class Star Destroyer over a moon. Despite protests by the Emperor's royal guard not to investigate the derelict vessel due to dangers, Vader opened up the shuttle's airlock and exited into the vacuum of space to personally investigate. He noted that the ship had apparently been taken out by a single blast, yet there were surprisingly few corpses on board the vessel, indicating that most of the crew had evacuated. Vader, during his search, found the ship's data logs, and after transferring the logs to the royal guards, requested for them to pick off where he had left off. Vader and the Emperor's royal guards deduced the point of origin of the energy beam that doomed the vessel, a nearby moon. They also learned that the captain had encountered a saboteur with a homing device who was apparently a member of the Hindsnake cult. They then went to locate the area that the surviving crew had evacuated to, in the hopes of finding the captain and learning more about the cult's plot against the Emperor, although they only found abandoned vessels at the evacuation site, with Vader speculating that the survivors were most likely eaten by the wildlife. Vader then killed one of the monsters on the planet, although not before the monsters squashed one of the royal guards to death. He and the surviving guard eventually located the suspected source of the beam, several ancient ruins. However, Vader, upon entering the temple, started suspecting that he was being stalked. Vader eventually entered the temple, and was guided to the basis by an elderly cultist. Upon being instructed by one of the cultists that it was only necessary to look inside the basis, Vader did so, only for vines to encapsulate him, overwhelming him to the extent that he was unable to breathe. Vader then knelt down with his helmet and mask removed, and watched as he, donning the mask and helmet once again, dueled Kenobi before cutting him down. Vader then witnessed Emperor Palpatine torturing him with Force lightning, only for Vader to gradually resist the lightning and have Palpatine collapse. Vader then looked up and saw himself among the stars, except instead of his chest box, he was adorned with the Hindsnake insignia on its place. However, Vader refused to follow the Hindsnake cult and wiped them out, also taking the base's power source, an energy crystal, with him. He later departed from the doomed moon, due to his earlier actions. Upon making it back to the ship, he eventually fought against the 9th assassin when the latter ambushed him, but he killed him effortlessly. He then made a trek over to the 9th assassin's abode and located his associate, killing him and presumably learning who hired the assassin from him. He then went to deliver the crystal to Tarkin to complete the preparations of the Death Star. He then left for the industrialist home, although he discovered that the industrialist had already committed suicide. He then met up with Palpatine, who admitted that he had actually orchestrated the events that transpired, even the Hindsnake cult's attempted assassination on him, as a test for Darth Vader. A few months after the declaration of a new order, Vader had become renowned as a warrior, which eventually resulted in Hawk Mausoleum, a clone trooper who had been left for dead in a battle during the Clone Wars, to desire to join him, after doing several battles to earn the Dark Lord's respect. Eventually, Vader, having respected Hawk, brought him into the fold and was later dispatched to the planet Oster to participate in a mission to assimilate a separatist holdout delivered on an Outer Rim planet. However, the operation ended disastrously due to Vader staying behind on his ship, not conducting reconnaissance beforehand, and giving direct command to an armchair general named Roan, resulting in Hawk having to do something that would risk his life, and flying alongside Vader before ending up captured by the Separatist forces. Vader eventually managed to attack the Separatists due to Hawk sabotaging the Separatist forces from inside, causing Hawk to see the ruthlessness of Vader in person, which pushed him to leave the Empire's military. Now, during the early years of the Galactic Empire, Vader participated in another invasion of Kashyyyk following a resurgent Wookiee uprising after the first attack. Aside from a stormtrooper escort, Vader did not personally lead the campaign as he pursued an objective of his own, the hunt for a fugitive Jedi who had taken refuge on the Wookiee homeworld. Despite his disappointment in the overall strategy of his subordinate officer, whom he judged to be incompetent, Vader allowed the commander to live while he executed his own mission. The Dark Lord of the Sith encountered numerous Wookiee warriors, all of whom fought with fierce determination, though none were able to prevent Vader's path into their village. Soon after reaching a large hut, decorated with banners bearing his target's family crest, the Jedi Kento Merrick confronted Darth Vader, but that's for another video. So what'd you guys think of the video? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Sith Citadel Discord, link is in the description, and consider becoming a join member or sending a super thanks if you wish to further support the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.